Hello, and an especially warm welcome to yet another exciting new episode of Simply Electric. Surely you've already seen the review with the driving report of the VW ID.7 GTX Tourer. Today, we're excited to take this remarkable gem onto the highway and fully evaluate its fuel consumption rate. At 100, 120, 140, 160 kilometers per hour, let's do the charging check. Can it reach 10 to 80%? In 26 minutes, because we have wintry temperatures. Currently, it's minus 1.5 degrees, and an electric car is supposed to function properly in winter as well. Take a moment to check if you belong to the Enter Electric community. If not, we'd love your support with a subscription. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps us grow. And with that support, we can produce even more content about electric vehicles for you in the future. I'd say let's not waste any time. Let's hit the highway with the VW ID.7 GTX Tourer. We want to have a conversation with you about the starting point on the way to the highway. And yes, indeed, the VW ID.7 GTX Tourer, in its GTX form, features dual electric motors, one located on the front axle and the other on the rear axle, providing a combined system output of 250 kilowatts or 340 horsepower with a torque of 560 Newton meters, and it also has the capability to deliver a decent little punch when you step on the gas pedal.
Yeah, it's moving along well.
VW did a really good job. We have the winter tires on now, which obviously makes sense at minus 1.5 degrees Celsius. And VW has equipped this car with mixed tires to enhance its performance and make it really stand out. Stefan?
Yes, we've got 19-inch wheels. Fronts are 235s, backs are 255s.
Indeed. And on the motorway, our intention is to consistently keep up an average speed of 100. Average speed 120, 40, 60. After that, we will determine the consumption levels from the onboard computer. We consistently utilize the same sections for the individual speed ranges, ensuring that by the end, you'll have a comprehensive table that includes not just the other tested vehicles here on the channel, but also allows you to make detailed comparisons between the ID.7 GTX Tourer and other vehicles accordingly. Please always watch the temperatures as we naturally run these consumption segments all year. And now we basically have one at winter temperatures. Yes, what we also do on the way to the highway, that's always a little extra service from us, is that we'll head towards Neubrandenburg. That's a solid 20 kilometers. So let's see what kind of consumption we experience over land through the villages at minus 1.5 degrees. I went ahead and reset the onboard computer just before we embarked on our journey, so hopefully we'll be able to keep an accurate track of our progress throughout. We'll obtain equally meaningful data, so we'll consistently drive at the speed that's permitted here according to the traffic regulations. Once we reach Neubrandenburg, we'll reset everything and then drive approximately 6 kilometers through Neubrandenburg in the city traffic, after which we'll show you the urban consumption within this temperature range, so that you will also get, as I believe, a comprehensive overview not only of the city, but also of the highway. This way, you'll understand what you're getting into with the ID.7 GTX Tourer during the winter season. Not much has been moved today. We've probably driven around 10 kilometers in total with brakes, and that's why it's still in a cold state. He was parked right at my doorstep on the farm last night, so to speak, and yes, that's quite similar to the starting point you might experience if you don't have the convenience of a carport or a garage. But yes, you park your car outside under the street lamps. Our consistent aim is to provide you with real, tangible values for reference, ensuring you have reliable points to truly rely on. What you might be getting into with the respective vehicle. We have arrived in Neubrandenburg, and as you can see, we traveled 21 kilometers with an average speed of 66 kilometers per hour and a consumption of 19 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Now we're driving through Neubrandenburg, resetting the onboard computer, and let's see what it consumes in the inner city at minus 0.5 degrees here in Neubrandenburg. We smoothly rolled through Neubrandenburg, covering a total distance of 7 kilometers with an average speed of about 45 kilometers per hour and noted an average consumption of 13,9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, all while at minus 0.5 degrees. That's quite significant when you think about it, isn't it? And if we extrapolate that to the large battery, we have 86 kilowatt hours net for the GTX Tourer or 91 kilowatt hours gross. By dividing it in this way, we can manage to reach 600 kilometers in city driving, even throughout the cold winter months.
That's decent.
So particularly for the segment of people who unfortunately don't have the option to charge their vehicles at home and instead find themselves needing to rely on public charging stations, it's actually quite a nice convenience.
That's a really good value.
And let's assume in the summer. With higher temperatures, which are much more battery friendly, it also means significantly less energy for the heat pump to heat the interior or seat heater or whatever you have set up. One should definitely stay well below that. So I think you can, if you smoothly go with the flow of traffic, always use the recuperation properly here in brake mode. With the energy recovery, I think you can easily manage to keep up with 10, 11, 12 kilowatt hours in city traffic. We have now reached the location of our test track situated on the Autobahn A20, and at the moment we are moving in a northern direction. So we are heading towards Greifswald, Stralsund, and I will now take a moment to reset the onboard computer together with you all, ensuring that we will end up with very accurate and reliable values. That is the average speed, and you can clearly see it right here. So again, because the onboard computer is capable of also displaying the average speed as well, we are driving with adaptive cruise control set in eco mode to give the car the best chance to be as fuel efficient as possible. Temperature is always 22 degrees. He decided to turn off the AC. So it seems like there is good software behind it, apparently from VW, because at the moment we don't require any cooling. And I'm really eager to observe how the ID. 7 GTX Tourer responds to our specific wind conditions and the 0 degrees outside temperature, or actually it's indicating -1 degree at the moment. What would be your estimation? Where do you think we will most likely end up?
Well, at around 100, I'd say I'm afraid it's about 22.
I'm keen to see if we'll be able to reach an agreement on that. By the year 2025, it's almost regarded as a necessity or a standard feature for a high-quality electric vehicle to come fully equipped with top-notch assistance systems included on board. Here at VW, I truly believe we're quite spoiled and fortunate with the excellent and advanced features of the Travel Assist.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That means we have a capacitive steering wheel here, which means 2 or 3 fingers touching it are enough for it to detect that we are paying attention. Holds, in my opinion, very, very nicely in the middle of the lane at 100 kilometers per hour here in the curve. And what Volkswagen has also solved very, very ingeniously is not only the lane and steering assist and the distance regulation, which can be adjusted in various stages, but also the predictive function. And predictive, objectively, it doesn't just mean that it adjusts the speed when it detects the sign via the camera or so, but also that it uses navigation data, camera data and similar sources as a basis to drive more proactively. That means the moment it knows a speed limit is approaching because it is a permanent change, it would practically adjust the speed by coasting smoothly. That we then drive at the new speed when we reach the sign, and I truly believe that currently, apart from BMW, Mercedes and other manufacturers, this is likely the best system that truly works effectively here in Europe. Yes, and I am quite aware that some enthusiastic fans of the American supercar manufacturer will probably start claiming that their vehicle has the capability to drive fully autonomously on the roads over in the United States. Yeah, that's really great, and we're genuinely happy about it too, and we honestly don't doubt it at all. But the simple truth is we live here in Germany and in Europe, and when I think back to the autopilot, it wasn't so nice. No?
He basically jumped out more than anything else.
Exactly. And what we obviously also have on board here is the lane change assistant. This means that the ID. 7 GTX Tourer is undoubtedly quite fully capable of seamlessly executing lane changes in a semi-autonomous manner, naturally and smoothly. He did that very, very nicely too. You just activate the turn signal and keep your hands on the steering wheel. And then you can truly and beautifully experience the lane change together as one seamless motion with the vehicle. We have determined the initial consumption value for you. We have traveled a distance of 21 kilometers, maintaining an average speed of 100 kilometers per hour. Experienced an electrical consumption of 17.6 kilowatt hours per every 100 kilometers. I really find that at -1 degree, an absolute top value, right?
That's truly impressive, you have to say it.
Because you mustn't forget we have a big battery with 91 kW here. We have almost 5 meters of estate car, so Tourer, and all this together, I have to say, is really An intriguing package indeed. VW smartly incorporates an asynchronous motor at the front. That means if you essentially don't need both electric motors at the same time, the front one essentially runs without utilizing any energy. Yes, I'm resetting the onboard computer for you, and we naturally want to determine the consumption over the next 20 kilometers at an average speed of 120 kilometers per hour. Another important feature of a good electric car, in our opinion, is consistently having a reliable and decent voice control system. Absolutely, something like a ChatGPT, VW GPT, or whatever name it might go by in the future. And then, of course, route and charge planning, right? And whether all of this, when combined with ChatGPT and route and charging planning, also functions smoothly within the ID.7, we want to explore together with you now by saying, "Hello, Ida." Hello, Ida. What's the population of Dubai?
I found that on Wikipedia. Dubai has 2.5 million inhabitants.
That seemed to work quite well already. So now we'll go ahead and do some more route planning with all of you once again. Hello, Ida. Hello, Ida. Drive us to Munich to Viktualien Markt 1.
All right, Munich. Viktualien Markt 1. Have a good trip. Your route includes several necessary charging stops. I think
it's impressively smooth, it's exceptionally fast, and he has the whole route here all planned out, including the charging schedule, planned and thoroughly carried out, and that's truly just an incredibly amazing story to share. That means we can then also accordingly see in the overview where we charge, from which state of charge to which state of charge we should charge and for how long. And in my opinion, that's actually quite a good feature. We have the ability here to make specific selections, ensuring that it only searches and filters for relevant charging stations exclusively that are active. Makes sense for over 100 kilowatt charging. It also fits with the ID.7, charge with up to 200 kilobit in peak. Can be done. You can also, for example, set it to only select free charging stations, so you don't end up going somewhere where there might already be a line. It could particularly be quite interesting during the holiday season. Furthermore, you can definitely select Ionity as well, considering the Volkswagen Group is a shareholder in Ionity. Indeed, you can of course also take advantage of utilizing the Volkswagen Recharge charging card option and then naturally opt to specify that the vehicle is to exclusively charge at precisely those particular charging stations, so that the charging card will obviously work at the available charging station he has chosen. Seems quite logical, doesn't it?
Sure, yeah.
What would be truly fantastic if you then perhaps had the wonderful opportunity to select even more various options for charging cards. You might have a subscription with EMBW, Allego, or Fastnet, or whoever. We don't want to stealthily advertise for any charging provider here, so that they specifically target these charging points. And otherwise, you can also very nicely specify with how many kilometers of remaining range he should plan to reach both the destination and to arrive at the charging station along the way. I also find that brilliant because sometimes, you know, we have to drive to an appointment in Leipzig. But we don't want to charge in Leipzig, can't charge during the appointment, want to get out of there and then return to Ionity because maybe we have Ionity Unlimited. And of course, you don't want him to make a plan where you arrive with an empty battery. Yeah, that's right. So these are all incredibly cool things that Volkswagen has really thought through. And I know that we, along with many others, have rightly criticized Volkswagen in the past for, well-functioning software. Rightfully so. But it must be noted that the American supercar manufacturer, when the car came to us in 2014, still didn't have perfect software, and that has developed over the last 10 years. Similarly, at VW in the last 4 to 5 years. You have to be honest about that, and that VW maybe hasn't always done everything right. And we have rightly viewed this constructively critically as well, the material mix. And in this case, one really must commend Volkswagen, not due to us receiving a test car, but rather because they truly listen to their customers and have consequently implemented various changes through model updates. both in the software and the material mix. And I can absolutely imagine that if you diligently share your thoughts and opinions on various topics in the comments, the corporation might also take notice with a Volkswagen test vehicle and then contemplate potential improvements, if they might consider incorporating feedback or fulfilling requests you wish for, or constructively criticize in future model generations or through over-the-air updates, and then also take over. And that's the good thing, that we, together with you, create such content, produce, plus including your comments, so that we just stay in touch there also with the VW group. It's that time once again, yes?
We've got the next 20 secured in the bag, 21.
Yes, let's take a look at the consumption value. We've driven 21 kilometers. Average speed was 119 kilometers per hour, and we had a consumption of 23.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I actually consider it to be reasonably okay now.
Yes, that's really quite good. Let's see what the upcoming results will reveal.
Yeah, I had to switch off the eco mode first, because in eco mode it only allows up to 130 kilometers per hour.
Okay.
I'm not completely certain what that's about now, but it is what it is. We've set it to 140 kilometers per hour, and together we will reset the onboard computer with you. Our aim is to discover that over the course of the next 20 kilometers is over, to consume at an average speed of 140 kilometers per hour. That's just a Harman-Kardon town system. And delivers solidly, I'd say. That's quality as usual. I think there are nice clear highs, right? Nice deep and rich bass, good subwoofer. So Harman-Kardon really can provide both here effectively.
Yes, it's a lot of fun.
We have the next consumption value recorded for you to review. We traveled a distance of 21 kilometers at an average speed of 149 kilometers per hour. Our consumption was precisely 26.5 kilowatt hours for every 100 kilometers traveled. Kilometers of consumption, I have to admit that's quite a remarkable number, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for 140, that's pretty amazing, yeah.
And it weighs over 2 tons here. It's 5 meters in length. It's a Tourer, so it's not exactly the most aerodynamic of all shapes, right? No. Can we switch to sports, try some cup speed? Are you ready?
Oh, here it goes.
At 140, then up to 150, past 160, reaching 170, progressing well to 180. What's going on now? Hello? VW, anyone listening? Hey? Hello? 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 What? At 180? Is that really the end?
Well, 81 you can.
Dude, we're driving here with 250 kilowatts, 340 horsepower, 560 Newton meters in an electric car, and it's at 182 sensor.
That feels sort of kind of a little bit sad.
Right, what has to be said is that VW has apparently realized by now that, especially with the GTX series, they might restrict things a bit too much and then probably want to make adjustments in the next generation or during the model update, as there are likely some necessary adjustments for the electric motors due to revolutions. That's how it was explained, and it seems they're likely to raise it again.
Yes, it's surely beautiful.
I'd say we really enjoy this here in Germany. Look, there's no traffic here. Free ride for free citizens. And oh, this is awesome. Look, it goes right through once more at a speed of 180. That's a nice punch. And naturally, we certainly want to have the ability to really step on the gas. And especially if I have my own PV system at home and charge my PV electricity, yeah, why shouldn't I treat myself to a higher speed as long as traffic permits and I'm not endangering anyone, right?
Okay.
By the way, the lane change assistant also handles everything. I forgot to mention that earlier in the AirDub display. This means you don't have to take your eyes off the road now. Instead, I'm virtually seeing through using the blinker. Like an arrow to the right, which you unfortunately can't see through the camera, that performs the lane change, then a bar that goes outward with green outer lines indicating that it's back in the lane. So, it provides a substantial amount of information back through the impressive and highly advanced augmented reality head-up display system. So I have to say, VW, you're on an excellent path there. I don't want to praise you too much yet. So you keep pushing forward, but that is already beautiful. travel car, and I think we will encounter travel comfort again later. And we come to the last consumption measurement. We have 160 km/h in distance control. With the cruise control set, we'll now reset the onboard computer together with you and aim to discover over the course of the next good 20 kilometers what exactly it consumes. It's quite reassuring to know that the ID.7 GTX Tourer can maintain a steady speed of 160 kilometers per hour with features like lane change assist and lane centering, as clearly seen here. I believe that's genuinely good and important because we had quite a few participants involved that failed around 130, maybe 135, yes.
Who then stopped doing it.
So Volkswagen obviously places its trust in their skilled engineers, and I do as well, because in all of the VW Group vehicles, I have to say, it has consistently worked flawlessly without encountering any mishap whatsoever. In my view, they perform that task exceptionally well, maintaining precision and a high standard of excellence, consistently showing impressive effectiveness. And let's talk about travel comfort, because I think that is also a decisive criterion for many when it comes to a large family-friendly estate car. Especially on long trips for vacations, to plan and carry out all of his trips. And naturally, you want to ensure that the journey is as comfortable and relaxing as possible. In order to transparently show this across all the tested vehicles, we've developed a highly reliable medium that thoroughly maintains the necessary neutrality. This innovative and clever medium is referred to as Stefan's popometer. Naturally, we're really eager and curious to see what Stefan's popometer is indicating today.
Yes, so I begin, as always, with the seat. I find the seat very comfortable. I have nice lateral support and also good thigh support. I quite like the seats in the GTX model, especially with the integrated headrest and all. That's really fancy. Ride comfort and the suspension. I find it quite comfortable, especially now in slightly higher temperatures. You can definitely feel the speed when you're driving on the road, as you notice those little bumps, but it handles them and absorbs them quite impressively well. It holds its balance quite well. It's a very pleasant and smooth ride.
I definitely agree with everything that has been mentioned here. Our subject has the premium suspension system installed, which I would always consider very carefully when deciding on such matters. To buy, I can also recommend you try test driving it, the DCC chassis. That means you have adaptive dampers available and it's not air suspension in the traditional sense, but you can actually adjust the dampers accordingly, especially when you're in the individual mode. I've prepared it especially for you, clearly showcasing the full range of available settings, from very comfortable to exceptionally sporty. And even there, you truly have to admit, Volkswagen has developed one of the finest adaptive suspension systems available, where you enjoy a beautiful range that stretches from a genuinely comfortable touring sedan experience all the way to a genuinely sporty and firm suspension setup. If you ever feel like handling tighter curves, perhaps while on the beautiful Großglockner High Alpine Road, then maybe even up to a racetrack, though you'd likely not visit those quite often with the ID.7 GTX Tourer. Capped at 180, it's not practical with a long wheelbase, but yeah, you want to be able to adjust it. And if you can do it as finely as with individual, I find that besides the standard driving modes, which you naturally have, also exceptionally comfortable, and I feel incredibly at ease here, particularly in these luxurious seats. We have the Ergo Active seats on board, which are equipped with seat heating, seat ventilation, and they even feature an invigorating seat massage function to enhance comfort. We could check that out because I definitely need a massage now. I'll begin with some lumbar activation exercises. We were sitting on a plane from Dubai back home for about 6.5 hours yesterday. I hope you also watched the video with the road trap and also with the new Xiaomi vehicle, which you can soon get in Germany. We filmed a few days for you in Dubai, and yeah, especially when you're sitting for a long time, a lumbar activation is really, really awesome. Look, Stefan, what programs they have here. So wave, back wave, lumbar waves, shoulder.
Speaking tap relax, oh look, it truly works well.
So here everything works, back activation, pelvis rotation, pelvis activation. It's quite interesting for some friends too. A good pelvis activation before heading home, just like that. So as I said, it's not one of those pillows like we used to know from the past. What I coughs up and down, but they are just nice different systems. So I have to say we need to cut the clip now. I need to take a moment to truly focus on activating my core here first. We now have the upcoming consumption value. You see, we drove 21 kilometers, an average of 160 kilometers per hour, and the consumption is 37 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Indeed, that is certainly an exponential increase we are observing. Yes,
1.5 kilowatt hours at 140 kilometers h.
fair to say that, but we've experienced that quite often, especially such a big jump between 140 and 160 kilometers per hour. I'll display the tables for you, allowing you to have and examine a detailed comparison. We also took the limousine with rear-wheel drive out for a spin here on the track. Let's include that into the table, along with each of the other vehicles we've tested. Please make sure to keep an eye on the temperatures so you get a good overview of how electric mobility performs in terms of consumption on our test track and how the cars behave. Many of you have raised concerns that with the ID models, there's no capability for battery conditioning or even a manual start function available. In my view, VW has substantially improved and optimized those features very effectively by enabling the activation of the manual battery heating option here, which significantly enhances the vehicle's overall functionality. We definitely want to do exactly that as well because we are eager to thoroughly perform the charging check together with you, progressing from 10% all the way up to 80%. It's really very important, of course, to ensure that the Volkswagen vehicle is perfectly well conditioned. It states that it takes approximately 40 minutes to achieve the optimal temperature. Based on our past experiences with other products from the VW group, such as with the Cupra. Tavascan, feel free to check out the videos as things can really go faster, especially when you have recuperation parts constantly accelerating whenever, essentially, a significant amount of energy is either drawn from the battery or returned back to it. It naturally reaches its full charging capacity more quickly as the system efficiently manages the energy flow and optimizes performance. We want to test the elasticity with you all once again. We accelerate outwards. 100 is lifted and we kick down in sport mode at 25% battery, and it goes up to 140, 150, 160, 170 kilometers per hour. And then, unfortunately, it slows back down to the limited top speed of 182 kilometers per hour. This means you can also smoothly accelerate out of such a speed reduction. Accelerate. By the way, see now, we've more than halved the time in just 5 minutes. By employing techniques like recuperation, sport mode, and acceleration, we've successfully increased the temperature of the battery pack considerably. This improvement makes us feel much more optimistic about the situation now. To achieve formant values with you once more at the charging station, ensuring that we maintain performance and efficiency. We've made it to the Demenerland rest stop with a state of charge of 8%. The current fast charging capability is expected to be approximately 191 kilowatts. So there too, the ID.7, in our opinion, delivered, right? Yes. And out of the 40 minutes, you can easily make it in 20 or a quarter of an hour. Yes.
No problem.
So a little bit of recuperation and some acceleration and deceleration. And then it really gets up and running. With the loading performance, you'll be able to see the 360-degree camera system in a fantastic way, including the front camera that it offers. That was kind of missing in our review, and where you can see the stylish rims with 19 inches now, in summer I think 20 or 21 inches. You can also monitor them. If you're unsure about where the curb really is, we'll go ahead and park the car and get it plugged in, and I'm genuinely curious to see if it will meet the stated 26-minute charging time. The pillar also shows 8% state of charge, just like the car. It quickly goes up to 9, that's smooth. And you can clearly see how it's beautifully increasing the charging peak here. It's designed to enable up to 200 kilowatts at the peak, ideally offering efficient performance. And that's a really fantastic story. Yes, you might be wondering, Ollie, with all these car tests you do, what exactly do you use for efficient charging? Yes, some test vehicles do come with charging cards. We won't hide that. However, as a general rule, we consistently make use of the complimentary kilometers offered by InCharge for charging. InCharge is a provider on the internet or as an app where you have the opportunity to collect free kilometers through your online shopping or, for example, by rating charging stations. Specific challenges where you can relatively quickly and effectively earn a good amount of free kilometers. We have already managed to drive over 50,000 kilometers without any costs involved and have charged our vehicle without any expense. If you're interested in InCharge, please feel free to check out the video description. I included a link in there specifically for you. Yes, the car, Stefan is giving me a signal here. He's always got everything in sight with his eagle eyes as the producer. And we have 191 kilowatt now at 12%, 500 amperes. And now the Ionity charger is really pushing power into the battery of the VW ID.7 GTX, and slowly, VW, we're getting to where we want to be with you, namely 200 kilobars. I remember the early days. I think it was about 100 kilowatts, 120 kilowatts as the standard, and everyone grumbled a bit. But even there, the American supercar manufacturer, which is here charging at Ionity, many people always criticize me, questioning how is it possible that you charge a Tesla at Ionity? Well, how do I? It's easy, just plug it in and tap the card. Pack the free kilometers from the chargers into the Tesla, so why not? So yeah, sure, maybe the Tesla supercharger can push a few more amps. And with those few additional amps, it can also theoretically achieve Musk's 250 kilowatts output for approximately a minute or so. But not much more than that, and in the end at the supercharger, it maybe saves him around a minute. So I'd rather go to Ionity. I always get the full power there. And like the 200 kW stated by the factory, bravo, hats off to Volkswagen for that achievement. Well done indeed. And one thing has to be said, if the ID.7 should really manage that feat in just 26 minutes, then it's definitely going to be faster than the Model S, without a doubt. With what we got at 39-ish.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
And we stay true to our line. We always beat the factory figure, 201 friends. Just so we've mentioned it. However, it's simply done electrically here. You simply need to be patient. And just to reiterate, we're experiencing a chilling wind at -1 degree here. At the Demenaland rest stop, I don't know if you guys know it. If you do, feel free to write in the comments. This is actually one of, in my opinion, the most unattractive charging stations because you're constantly somehow...
Whenever you come, even in summer, the wind blows over the field. Yes?
That's just how it is in Mecklenburg. We are coastal kids. We've got the Baltic Sea right on our doorstep, where you guys like to holiday, or of course the Mecklenburg Lake District. There were also some people who visited me again at the Park Hotel Versanerien. Neustrelitz isn't supposed to be an advertisement either. So if you ever want to see Stefan and me live, we also have our einfach elektrisch studio there. So feel free to drop by anytime. We're really looking forward to having a coffee with you and enjoying a nice chat about electric mobility. And while we're chatting here, it also goes up to 202 kilowatts. So no one says don't make a clip for 1 kilowatt. Now he's boasting.
VW, look, yeah.
He's really a bonzer. 404 volts, 500 amps. So from that you can probably also obtain systems operating over 400 volts. The Tesla should be capable of handling that as well, don't you think? I think it's broken. 205 kilowatts and 410 volts. Why 10 more in a 400 system? And then 500 amperes. It's a simple calculation.
System power surges.
And look, it's at 36% and still blasting at 203.
8 min, that's fine.
So this is really awesome. We charge 26.5 kilowatt hours. I'm curious about the 50% value. The loading time is also the perfect opportunity to show you the ID.7 as a GTX Tourer in King's Red from the outside again. Here, very, very nice with the daytime running light silhouette. We also have the VW logo illuminated at the front, and with the GTX we have a corresponding front part, which is very, very sporty, where we actually also have additional lights on the side. And yes, particularly King's Red. So in winter, during dreary weather conditions, I find it is an exceptionally nice, fresh color in such a vivid, strong red, but also leaning a bit towards a rich burgundy. And then, of course, with the colorful applications here in either gloss black or matte black, absolutely essential is naturally the big, bold GTX lettering. You can yet again nicely see the aerodynamically optimized 19-inch rims. Then with the Continental Winter Contact TS850, P as in Paul, and yes, let's shift our focus and move around to check out the rear side here. It comes in a hatchback version, you could say as a sedan, or the way we have it here as a family car, specifically as a station wagon. And I have to say I really like that, so I think I would take a Tourer.
Yes, it's quite chic, right?
A nice and spacious tailgate where we can easily load up to a substantial total of 600 liters of trunk space. And also from the back again with the rear lower section, which is also GTX typical, with the warm texture. It really has a sporty and truly sleek appearance, and indeed the taillights are definitely modern too. The VW logo can also be illuminated in red when you have the dipped headlights on. VW has truly made a remarkably significant and impressive impact with the introduction of the GTX Tourer. Let's take another look at the trunk for you, but if you haven't seen it, feel free to watch our review with a driving report where we also show you the car completely from the outside and inside. Present in different driving situations, including acceleration measurements from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. What goes beyond that is, of course, a roof load of, I think it was 75 kilograms, plus a trailer hitch with 12% of brake trailer load of up to 1.2 tons. And I would have certainly wished for a bit more.
That'd be nice.
The Kia EV6 we tested can tow up to 1.8 tons as AWD. VW maybe consider giving some thought to that during your next model update, to increase the brake towing capacity again. 50%, as you can observe after 12 full minutes, that's an impressive value. We've recharged almost 39 kilowatt hours, it's still pulling at 150 kilowatt, which is also a solid value for a 400 volt system. Well, VW has clearly done its homework quite effectively, and if it now successfully manages to increase from 8 to 78 in just 26, while being at a temperature of -1 degree. The battery conditioning system was working perfectly, we manually initiated it. Naturally, you can simply enter a charging station into your navigation system or add it in your route planning, and it will automatically ensure that the battery is properly conditioned. You don't need to press anything, but that's really good VW. I have to say it's slowly getting right.
What exactly happened to the VW automobile?
No, it's not the VW, it's the Tesla beside it, Model Y dual motor. Here, 76%, 56 kilowatts. It's been there for 31 minutes already. Well, friends, so not always just. Praise it to the skies, also take a real look at what's going on.
Absolutely.
He likely made another user error once again, and surely the Tesla fanboys will go ahead and report it. But what truly makes Simply Electric really quite nice is that they don't just get informed about everything that only appears to be cool through those rose-colored fanboy glasses. I mean, truth is, filling a regular car's 100-liter tank out front takes 5 minutes, right? So, and with peeing and all that jazz, and I'm grabbing another coffee here at Coffee Fellows. I'm not here under 8 minutes, you know? 8 to 78% in just 25 minutes. Excellent result. Total of 64.7 kilowatt hours recharged. He continues to charge at a rate of 97 kilowatts. And naturally, we're also doing a session from 8 to 80, going from 8 to 80% in just 26 minutes. He successfully charged a solid 66.5 kilowatt hours. That's quite impressive, and it clearly demonstrates that VW has now reached a point where they can charge very, very quickly indeed. Let's come to the interim conclusion because we want to go on a road trip with you and have another look at how the ID.7 GTX Tourer performs on a long distance of around 1,000 kilometers. Fuel consumption, in my view, is quite impressive given the weather at -1 degree. Nothing to complain about. I believe that in the summer, he will definitely consume noticeably less energy. With the large battery pack, you should then be able to achieve some really decent travel values with net 86 kilowatt hours. Yeah, VW has really boosted charging performance. It's now excellent too, charging from 10 to 80% in just 36 minutes. That absolutely makes sense and is definitely good. And as I've mentioned before, feel free to speed things up. We really never have any objection to faster performance in general. Where the ID.7 truly impresses me is in the assistance systems. I feel just as comfortable and well accommodated here as I did back in the Mercedes EQS, since you have the full range of features including lane changing and more, including speed control settings and predictive adjustments. These features come together seamlessly, making it really outstanding here with the Travel Assist. And what I also really like, although it doesn't quite match the air suspension of the Mercedes GQS, but of course it's at least probably double the price, is then the DCC chassis, which however in the area of steel chassis with damper control, One of the best systems you can currently buy with money, in my opinion. And what I still find absolutely amazing, just take a look at how extensively you can customize it right here. VW has impressively refined this feature over the years. I believe a Tourer, particularly as a station wagon, could be an excellent choice for many buyers. However, the price remains an issue that needs careful consideration before any decision. That's for you to judge. Leasing rates, the great offers VW is coming out with. So maybe also look at the other one, not always just at the gross list price, but also check sometimes you can get a GTX at a bargain.
Yes, indeed, truly so.
And I believe it should be that in the future this sales model will move away from the agency model and the dealer will once again have the freedom to set prices independently. I think this will also all contribute to making it possible, hopefully, for you to access VW at an attractive price in the future. And then it could maybe become a really family-friendly car. Yes?
It will definitely be worth it.
Large trunk, nice seats, and especially with the all-wheel drive, which is only all-wheel when needed due to the asynchronous motor, I think it's quite unique in appearance as a GTX, really a gem.
It's essentially a genuinely all-inclusive package.
Well, I have to say, it might even become my new electric car someday, so who knows? I'm always open to that. And therefore, I can still recommend you to watch the road trip video, and if you have the chance, go to your local VW dealer, test drive it, and see for yourself. Because I genuinely believe that VW is now taking very considerable steps in the right direction. And with that being said, we have reached the conclusion of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed watching the video. Please do give it a thumbs up. Take a moment to check if you are already part of an electric community. It's quite important, so you absolutely don't miss out on the third video about the road trip. Feel free to subscribe for free. It also supports our growth. Yes, and last but not least, I want to thank you for watching and look forward to seeing you again on the road trip. Stay healthy and see you soon, Ollie. Stefan, that's cool, right?
Nice illuminated VW logo back here.
Do you know what's not so great? I'd like to have that integrated there. Yeah, and that bump up there, I'd like to get rid of it completely. Sure.
I think we don't really need to discuss that too much anymore.